Hi everyone, welcome to another video by Optionables. Today with us, we have a very special guest, that is Nitish Narang, founder of Stockmark. So it won't be wrong to say that Stockmark is a pioneer in options backtesting. Before Stockmark, us retailers, we never really had a platform where we could go and backtest our option strategies. From there on, Stockmark has gained quite a lot of popularity because it served what retail community wanted. So today we have the founder of Stockmark himself, Nitish Narang, and we have heard many interviews of Nitish Narang where he has spoken about options backtesting. But today we will be looking at Nitish Narang from the side of a trader, from the side of an entrepreneur and industry expert. So these are the three aspects what we'll be covering in this video. So first of all, we'll welcome our guest Nitish Narang to the show.
Hey, thank you, Saket, for this lovely introduction.
Uh, Thank you, sir. It's our pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank
And
you.
yes, sir. As I mentioned, we have heard a lot of interviews of yours, but we want to know different aspects of Nitish Narang. And first, we'll start off by seeing how is Nitish Narang as a trader? So how did you get introduced to stock market? What was your background and how did you start trading?
Okay, so I think this is around 2018 end when I was in a tech industry. I was managing the team of 10 developers and interacting with our clients in the US and UK, wherein one of my close friends, Neeraj, introduced me to the options world by saying that, when the markets are going anywhere, there is a leverage product called options, wherein you can make the money when the markets are going up by buying the calls, and you can make the money by buying the puts when the markets are going down. And so it's a very easy way to earn the money, and it's a get rich quick scheme. So that was a line that got me introduced to this thing. I think, yeah, is it something that's really really good? And then I opened an account with one of the brokers, and I tried playing around with it. Obviously, as a beginner's luck, I have earned some money by buying only. So I only knew about options buying because when I started to read about options selling and something like that, the first thing that I saw was option selling uh, is a wrong game, and you can lose all your money. It's a risky game, something like that. Okay, and option buying is a very quick way of making the money, wherein you can double your capital in a day or things. And that's how I got introduced to the options world.
So you directly started off by trading options. So you didn't get into this journey of trading equities, then coming to options and then going to option selling.
No, to be honest, for the simple reason, the way my friend introduced me, or I can say the way my friend also got introduced is, yeah, why pick up equities when you can make the money when the markets are going down as well? So
Right.
that was something. We were very curious to know what was it, and after curiosity, we started investing some money. Obviously, we were wrong in that direction, but that's how we got introduced into options buying. And then I did some option buying for a couple of months. As a beginner's luck, I've gained some money, but later on, eventually, I started losing the money, and I started doing revenge trading, wherein I lost like 50% of my capital that I've induced. And that's how my option buying journey started. I never did equities before that.
So one thing what I really want to know is because even I have been trading for a while and there are also many traders. So up until this thing, we never really got a thought of, okay, back testing option strategies. So when was it the first time it struck, okay, we can actually back test something and try it out? So when were you introduced to this concept of back testing?
Saket, for to understand that how did I reach eventually to backtesting, I need to tell you a story. When we were doing option buying and we were failing big time after a couple of months, my friend again, Neeraj, somebody introduced himself as an expert in trading, and tried selling a complex strategy to him. And then he reached out to me saying that I've got one of my friends um, who appeared to be very smart in option selling, and let's meet him. So we eventually met him, and he looked to be very very smart. Like, if you talk to him, you will feel like, wow, he's an industry expert, man. He knows everything in and out. everything, futures, options, how to buy the call, how to hedge it with futures, puts, buys, and there is a very limited loss in there. Option selling is not a all loss game. So that's how we actually got introduced to option selling and systematic trading through him. But eventually we realized that he was doing a scam with us. So this is something like um, the lesson that we have learned while interacting with him is somebody can tell you something else, but their action speaks otherwise. Like, I can tell you, do this, you should do that. But eventually, if I'm doing something else, like contrary to what I'm telling you, that's kind of a scam that we fall for. So eventually, he was selling us good thing that we will do that, this will do that, but eventually, we lost good amount of money with him as well. And then I realized that if the scam, like I was heading a team of 10, 12 developers, and I was saying, I considered myself to be a little smart guy. And I told to myself that, yeah, if I can get scammed, then probably this industry, there are other people who can get scammed as well. So eventually I did my research. I said that, okay, I'll do a research for 2 to 3 months and I'll see if this is something that has happened with me or it's actually happening across the market in one way or the other. And then I realized that this scam is happening for in various at various layers. The first one is selling a strategy. The person who is appeared to be little smart is telling others that this is the strategy that you use. And that person who is buying a strategy uh, is probably falling for it. It's working for them for sometimes, for not. So eventually, the guy who is selling the strategy is eventually making the money, but those guys who are receiving it are not. So many a times when I interacted with those guys, they just like lost the money in the market because they don't know what to do in the market. So after my research of couple of months, I realized that there is a big gap in this market because people don't know what to trade. And that's why they are going to trainers and other people to know. Now, when I started doing my research on the training aspect of it, I realized that there are 10-15%. I may be wrong here, but my research said that 10 to 15% of trainers are actually good, who are educating people about it. But there are other people who are just there to sell the complicated strategy. And since complication gets sold very, very easily, that's why they get many, many audiences. And that's how I realized that a person like me who does not have a very full understanding of this market will eventually go to somebody and just buys the strategy out of it. And I don't know what if that strategy will perform in the future or not. So my problem statement was at that particular time, how do I let person like me find a strategy which will work in the future? Now, this problem statement can never be solved because if we can find a strategy that can work in the future, obviously anybody can be a billionaire. Okay. Now that's impossible. But I just changed my problem statement to what if I look at from this perspective, if any strategy has worked in the past, it has the probability to work in the future. But if a strategy has not worked in the past, then it's a probably high probability that it will not work in the future. So this thought, while I was sitting and talking to myself, I was trying to figure out what's going on in this market. That's how when I reached to this particular problems, this statement, I realized that, damn, there is a need for a product that has a backtesting nature in it. Now, backtesting, that's how the idea of backtesting got introduced. And then we started working on, I and my partner Abhishek started working on this concept of backtesting. And then we realized second problem statement. We said that people are just sold the strategy in a raw fashion, that this works, this has given such amount of returns in the past. But nobody, or not nobody, like many people are not telling about the risk that is involved in the strategy. So what we decided is we'll give the backtesting as a platform so that person can go to a platform and then see if a strategy is working or not. Okay. And what we'll do is, as a result, we will show all the possible details that we can show to educate users. Just like I'll tell you something. Many people, while I was developing this thing, many people didn't know about stop loss. Honestly, many people didn't know about that. MDD was known by very, very few people back then, whomsoever I have interacted with. Expectancy, so let it go. Nobody knew about it. Very few people knew about it. So we thought that while giving the results in a back testing, we'll take it as an opportunity to educate our users by throwing these terms, so that whenever continuously they see these terms, they'll Google it and they'll eventually get to know that before looking at the rewards, the risks are pretty important. So we took it as an opportunity to be very, very, very transparent in the results. So these are the two thoughts that passed our mind, and eventually the backtesting things happened. And I'll tell you a funny story. We developed backtesting so that in this context, Saket, a person who has a thought in mind will come and eventually will test his hypothesis and will find out if this is working fine or not. But it happened other way around. People are now coming to a backtesting platform, StockMock, and eventually trying to find the strategy in there. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's been working fine since last 2.5 years.
Like how you mentioned, even sometimes we get onto StockMark to see if there is any new strategy which is better and we can start using that. So it has eventually definitely turned around that way, where people come to StockMark to test, build their strategy rather than test their hypothesis. So how you mentioned, sir, you just told about from a group of 10, managing a group of 10 to becoming an entrepreneur. So it is not so easy unless you have an entrepreneurial spark in you. So that's the reason. There are two things I want to know when you talk about this. The first thing is, have you ever done anything before StockMark, any softwares or anything before StockMark? Because it is not so easy to just jump from a job to entrepreneurship. That is one thing. And second thing, what motivated you to quit your full-time job and start StockMark? That is one thing which many people definitely want to know, because whoever is doing a job, they have a sense of security. So the job will be paying them regular income. So they have a sense of security. They don't want to let go of that to start their entrepreneurial journey. So what is your advice for them?
Okay. These are the two very big, important questions, actually. The first one is the entrepreneurial spirit in me that led me to build a product while I was facing a problem. This is what entrepreneurship is all about. When you face a particular problem, you try to address it with all the skill set that you have and try to reach to a particular solution. And you are very right in this, that this is not my first solution to a problem that I face. I have been there has been an entrepreneur in me already since past couple of years, because whenever I face a particular problem, I try to build a solution around it. Okay, just to give you a context, while I was dining in, I was dining in with my wife, and I was listening to a song there, and I wanted to change that particular song. So I eventually have to go back to a manager to ask, to request them to change the song. And then I found this as a particular problem, and I wanted to find a solution for it. So I built a product around it, wherein we will see all the possible songs that are playing in the dining in, and we can request that song, and whichever song gets the highest request will eventually get paid for it. So this is one such product that I've built earlier. Before that also, whenever I face a particular problem, I try to find a solution to it. Okay, entrepreneurship is generally about finding a solution to a particular problem. Now I'll tell you a layered two aspect of it. There are people who can find a solution to a problem that can fit, that is acceptable to them. But a product that will eventually be captured in the market is the one, the solution that you provide is not just accepted by you, it's accepted by many others, like StockMark. So the solution to a problem that I have faced, okay, we tried figuring out a solution, back testing. And this is a solution that was accepted by many people. That's why we built this community, and eventually through the word of mouth, everyone started accepting it. Even though the StockMark is not my first product, but I've been building many solutions to the problems that I faced. So that's the first aspect of it. The second that you said is, it was a tough decision to leave the job, because as I told you, that StockMark actually started with an entire intention to help community, and the entire intention was very simple, Saket. I wanted one person to get saved from the scam, and who can use the platform, backtesting platform, to become independent and profitable. This is our tagline even now. We want traders to be independent and profitable through the backtesting platform, so that they can see if the strategy has worked in the past. And through the transparency, by transparent, I mean we show them all the details, MDD risk, everyday details of the past 5 years of backtesting, and they become educated in the process. We launched this product for free. I had an emergency fund of 6 lakhs, and I thought that I will deploy this fund on a mission that is a solution, backtesting solution, and we launched it to the market. I didn't know if it's going to work or not. So for the first 6 months, we kept the stock mark for free for everyone. And I'll kid you not, there have been many, many, many big players who started using the product, who started appreciating us at various levels that this is a good solution, and it's helping us in one way or the other. I started getting many mails from the retailers themselves that their trading journey or their trading stuff has changed a lot. And we'll come to that later, that how stock market actually changed it. What are the things that got introduced that has now become a new normal, which was not back then, because back then it was a struggling phase. We launched this was very new to the market. But I'll be very grateful, and I feel gently blessed that this market has accepted this product for the 6 months. Then eventually COVID happened, and I wanted to focus entirely. I can't focus on two things. Like, I was doing the job back then, I was working on this product. So eventually I sent a mail to a couple of guys who I was very interactive with back then. And then I told them that I think my mission is fulfilled. My emergency capital is now gone. Probably my job is done. Now you guys know that you don't have to fall in the scam, and I'll go focus on my job. But eventually everyone made me realize that if you go away from this market now, you'll probably leave the gap again, open again. So I think that day I got many mails and messages, and I immediately took a decision that, okay, let's keep this mission going. Eventually, I have to make some bread and butter for my family, so I'll just start charging users bit from it. And that was the time I immediately, like the very next day, I immediately resigned, and in 15 days, I got relief from my job, and I started working full time on with my partner Abhishek on the stock market.
So, like how you mentioned, sir, so we just saw how you started a job, then became a trader, and now we have become an entrepreneur. But once you become an entrepreneur, business teaches you a lot of things. And not just that, it is also that you might have to take some very important decisions, like how you mentioned of either quitting the job in the personal level, or also charging for stock mark. First 6 months you had given it for free, and later you started charging. So these are some very important decisions which can have a huge impact. One example is, let's say you start charging for a product. From tomorrow, there'll be sudden drop in the people using it. So these are some very hard decisions to take. And which are some of the crucial decisions or changing, like business changing decisions that you have taken, which has impacted stock market in a positive way?
It's a good question. I'll tell you. We kept basics very clear from the start, from the day we started the platform. When it was free, when it got paid, there was no major decisions that we have taken. We just started charging them, and yes, there was some drop, because eventually once you are using product for free, there are some people who want to keep it for free, but there are many people who says that no, this is adding value to us. So for the value that you are giving, we are ready to give you such amount of charges. And we have kept our charges pretty nominal back then. It may not be a nominal now, probably for some reason, but it was very nominal back then, because the backtesting was very costly. Like for one backtest, I've heard there are companies out there who are charging 20,000-25,000 rupees for one backtest. And now you can do the backtest for like 10-15 rupees, one backtest. So we have eventually, and since we were techie, we were making sure that our tech solution is very, very good. So for the business decisions, I'll tell you from the day one, what we were very sure is we'll interact with our users. This product was developed after talking to users about the problem statements that they're facing, and hence the product. So our idea was this product will grow by talking to the users the problems that they're currently facing. And there can never be. And this is an entrepreneurial thing in general. It's not just related to stock market. That if you keep talking to your customers, you will feel their pain points. You will sit down on a whiteboard. You think to yourself what can be the possible easy solutions to implement, and then eventually go to the platform. You build it out. So this circle is something that is very crucial in this business aspect of it. You get in touch with your customers. You understand their pain point. Like I remember, Saket, when you sent me a mail regarding some issues that you are facing, or you wanted to understand stock market in little detail, we got in touch and we interacted in detail that this is what can be done, and this is the possible workaround for it, and we implemented that in stock market. Obviously, it takes some time, but we implement that. That's one of the things. The second thing that I'm going to tell you is little off is when you are doing a job, okay, and you are building a product for a particular mission, sometimes like you feel little, I don't know why, a guilty kind of thing or little different, that you start charging users about a product. So whenever a person switches from a job to this thing, this particular phase happens. So if somebody is trying to do that, uh, I'll tell you, charge users, even if you want to charge a little bit, charge them, because that will introduce more seriousness to the product. When somebody is paying you, you're responsible for that. Even if you want to charge small, start charging small. Okay, you will add more seriousness to your product. Okay, and these are the two important things. Like keep your basics correct, talk to users, introduce the things that they need.
That's a great advice for whoever is starting, sir. So it's a great advice, including for us as well. So if we come out with any products in the future, so we would definitely keep this in mind. So one more thing, what I want to know is one life-changing lesson that stock market has taught you.
Oh, that's tricky, man. uh, um, life, life changing. Uh, you have to be true to yourself. Okay. If you are true to yourself and you are building a solution to a real problem, okay, you will get people who are going to support you at various levels, and you don't know what that can be. That's point number one. Point number two is what can be felt, and it cannot be just I can tell you, but the push that you gets. Like for example, when we built this product, okay, we got literally so many mails and messages from retail traders who are blessing us, that even today we get such mails that thank you for Stockmark. We were actually in very loss, and eventually our losses being either capped now, and we have started making profits. We are blessing you from the bottom of our heart. This particular feeling that your product is actually helping others, and this can only be seen through testimonials. Okay, and we take both the testimonials on the face value. Like we say, if somebody's cursing us, we get to the root cause of it, why they are cursing us. We get in touch with them, what is the real problem, and we try to address that. But there are many people who tells us that their life, their trading style is actually changed, and that's what motivates us, that yeah, we are doing something good for the trading community. So that's what motivates us to keep doing good. And life changing lesson is this only: you keep helping others, and eventually good will happen to you. I'll tell you, this is one of the reasons. I'll just digress from here, that we have never done a paid marketing till now. We have actually spent zero money in marketing, and all of our users, like we have a customer base of around 1,30,000 users right now, and I think more or less everyone has come from the word of mouth. And because people are liking the product, that's why I think they are recommending others to come and try this product out.
That's really amazing, sir. So, like we personally, even I have a lot of things to take away from this interview. So now, before we end with your entrepreneurial journey, so I just want to ask a last question. If
Sure.
there's an young entrepreneur who wants to start a business, what would be one advice you want to give him today?
Okay. Who wants to start their entrepreneurial journey? First of all, uh, sometimes it feels an entrepreneur is a quite heavy word. Okay. So, and you may feel burdened if you keep on saying, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to do something, I have to do something. Don't take a burden on yourself. Okay. Try to find the real problem and go step by step. That's a real important journey. Okay. The I'll tell you, all the products that I've built in the past, more or less everything failed, and I learned from every product that what are the mistakes that I don't have to do in the future. Example, my last product, which I was telling about the songs that called as Mock DJ, I've spent 1.5 years building that product. And I never launched that product to the market. Why? Because I felt I want to give a ready-made full solutions to the market. But that is not the way it is. Try to build a prototype and then go to the market and see if it is accepted in the market or not. Second, your vision, when you start out, your vision is something I want to build this product that way. But your customers or users may direct you in a better way. That why don't you build in such a way? So eventually you change your direction and path by one step at a time by taking users' feedback. So I will tell first of all, don't quit your job. It's not needed. Whatever problems that you're facing and you want to find a solution to it, try to treat it as a weekend hustle side project. If you have a weekend hustle side project for it, you will start to build a prototype of it that this is something I want to build. Take that prototype to the potential users and take their feedback on the face value from the bottom of your heart and say that what actually are you even criticizing me? I am happy to listen, but at least tell me something about the product. Because if you criticize, you will tell the pain point and I'll improve on that pain point. This is called as a feedback loop. First, so there are only two things. One is weekend side project hustle. Second, make a prototype of it. And third, feedback loop. I think that will take you to the places that you have not even thought of. Like we have never thought that Stockmark will come to a place that a person like Saket is going to interview us. So
So now we have looked at the entrepreneurial side of you. What are the lessons you learned and how you got into this? So now today, Stockmark has obviously the most number of users when you look at retail backtesting, or even if you look at backtesting as a whole. So it won't be wrong to say that Stockmark right now is the industry leader. So since Stockmark is the industry leader, we can rightfully call you the industry expert. So from the point of view of the industry expert, as a trader, I also want to know few things, which I'm pretty sure all the viewers would also like to know. So here are some questions for Nitish Narang as an industry expert. So the first question, what I would want to ask you is, I'm pretty sure that Stockmark is being used by bigger players as well as smaller players. So it won't be wrong to say that Stockmark is also being used by people managing hundreds of crores to managing few lakhs. So what is the difference you find between these people? So what is the major differentiator between a small player as well as a big player?
wow, nice question. And I think yes, you are right. I interact with people who are doing one lot. I interact with people who want to go into this business, start into the options world. I interact with people who have been in this market for 10 plus years, 20 plus years. And so I am very lucky in this aspect that I get to talk to people and I get to know their point of view. So this is a very apt question. And I'll tell you the simple answer to it. The major problem that I feel is short term thinking versus long term thinking. I want to be financially independent or rich, whatever you want to say, is what a big players are generally thinking. I want to get financial freedom and rich now is what is short term thinking. Okay. Because if you want to get rich or financially free now, you will look for a short term solution, which is Tell me a good strategy. If you want to look that in the long run, I want to be financially free, you will probably look for a right process. And so your focus is eventually changed. Somebody who is calling me and is doing two lots and is not discussing with me a strategy, it's rather discussing with me a process. I tell them directly that you have already become a good trader, that you know you're going to be in this market for the long run. So you're eventually focusing on the process. It's more about mentality. I know it comes with experience. It's easier said than done. But if a people who has somebody who has an experience with 10, 15 years, who's managing couple of crores, I do talk to them as well. Try to adapt their mentality now. Try to adapt their process. Okay. That's what is the way to go. Don't go by the herd mentality of a get rich quick scheme and you want to get rich now. Rather have a mentality of a good process. I think that's the key difference between these two people. And that is one of the major reasons people leave this industry, because they've entered this industry with a similar mindset that want to get rich quick. That's why they come here fast and they go here. They go from this market very, very fast. And then they curse the market. It's bad. But eventually there are players who are earning from this market. So why not we see them? There are many good Twitter handles as well who can give you a good lesson. And there are a lot of Twitter noises as well. You know, Saket, we have started this podcast series where you were also the part of, wherein our entire intention was through the Twitter noise, people are feeling they're lagging behind. There's a lot of FOMO out there that I can do nothing and that other guy is earning a lot of money. And eventually, we only want the end result and not the process somebody is following. And that's the key difference.
This is some really good advice for a trader to think about the process than just think about the strategy, because strategy, what is working today might not work tomorrow, or what is not working today might start working tomorrow. But if we have the right process set, then that is going to take us a long way. So now, sir, for example, like for us, let's say I just run a simple back test. On my front end, quick calculations happen and I get result in hardly 10-20 seconds. But I can just try to imagine, or if you can help us visualize the amount of data crunching that happens in the back end, because it has to check for every single minute data for last 5 years. So I'm pretty sure that is not a simple thing. So what is the quantum of data that gets crunched every time I backtest?
Nice, man. You're digging deep into this. Okay, so the point is, yes, uh, when people see the product, Stockmark looks very easy on its face value, that you go click two buttons and click on the back test and you get the results within under 10 seconds actually. Okay, sometimes under 5 seconds, sometimes under 10 seconds, depending upon the years you are backtesting. Obviously, for every backtest is a unique backtest for us, because somebody who is testing 25% stop loss, somebody who's testing 26% stop loss, assuming, will have a different calculations in the back end. And so we cannot even ignore every minute of it. We can't go that if somebody wants to backtest from 9:30 to 3:30, we'll only pick 9:30 and only 3:30. No, we have to pick 9:30, 9:31, 9:32. So eventually, for assume this thing, let's say somebody is doing 5 years of backtest. For 1 year, it's 250 days. And for 5 years, it's going to be 1250 days. Let's say they are doing 2 leg strategy, only simple 2 legs. So it's 2500 times call put. And for every minute that they want to backtest. So it eventually comes down to millions of records that are getting fetched from database. It's getting processed fast, and that's a USP. That's where our tech expertise actually come in. That we want to deliver as transparent data to our users as quickly as possible, without even showing the complexity behind the scenes. That is the point. At the back end, there are millions of records, millions of transactions that are going on. And I'll tell you, on Stockmark, there are generally probably over one, like 300-400 back tests that are happening at any given point in time. Okay, so it's not just one. Parallelly, many back tests are going on, and parallelly processing is going on. So we have to be very aware about how and when we have to increase our servers. Our servers are getting increased probably every couple of months. I'll tell you the reason why. See, let's say we have 5 years of data already, and today, when the day has passed, we'll get a new data. So eventually, our data is getting accumulated every single day, and we are in the data centric business. So we have to make sure that all the servers that we have to keep on upgrading it so that doesn't fail. And fortunately, I think for the last 2.5 years, there has been only 3 days when our servers were reacting very slow, and not more than that. And it's a pretty good deal for us.
Right, sir. So that is something really great to know, because as I told you, in front end, it doesn't look so complicated, but I was trying to visualize yesterday, because if for 5 years, if it has to check every single minute, so I was just trying to think how much data can that be, and that was quite huge. So that's why I just wanted to know from your perspective. So now, since we also spoke about backtesting and crunching of data, so I won't be wrong maybe if I say that there are crores of backtests which have already been conducted on StockMark. So now, after so many backtesting, now if I were to ask you, what is a good backtest result? Because you would have seen crores of backtesting happening. So what is a good backtest result? If I get this parameter, or what does Nitish Narang look for in a good strategy? And if this is like this parameter is so much, this parameter is so much, okay, this is above average backtest result. So what are these parameters, and what parameters do you look for?
Okay, so I'll add a disclaimer here. There are crores and crores of backtests that have already been done on StockMark, but we can't see that result. Okay, because we never save any backtest result on StockMark, and that is, I think, one of the key reasons why big players are still using StockMark, because they're very sure that their results are not seen even by us, let alone by anybody else. So even if crores of backtests have been done, we don't know their results at all. That's first disclaimer. So I don't know through crores of backtesting what's being done, but there have been many times, like every day I get at least 10-15 people messaging me that this is the results that I've found. Every time I go to Twitter, I see somebody tagging us that this is the result that they have found. Uh, I'll go again deeper into this conversation because that needs deeper conversation. Let's not look strategy as a system. Let's look at system strategy as a part of a system. So if somebody is really focused on just one part of a system, which is a strategy, it's a short-term thinking. Okay. I'll go to that as well, that how to find a good strategy or how to calculate if a strategy is decently well or not. But a system consists of a strategy, your psychology, your real experience with the market, that when you are trading one lots and two lots, not just backtesting, it's a process that you do backtesting, you do forward testing, and then you start trading with one, two lots so that you experience it, that real time, what it looks like, and then develop, mature yourself as a trader, and then scale it up. That's a system entirely. So whenever somebody tells me that they found a good strategy, I tell them that strategy is a part of a system. Eventually grow yourself as a trader. Your psychology, like I can't really push that enough. I've told that in my Vivek Bajaj interview as well, and many places that psychology plays a very key role. And when I'm saying this, it may hurt my business as well, because people may say that you should rather promote find a good strategy so that people test more. But I say that is not, that's again a short term thinking. Long term thinking, I want that person to be in this market so that after 1 year, 2 years, they backtest again. Okay. And for that, they have to have a good psychology in picture. That's a key part of it. So whenever somebody tweets about psychology and other things, they should learn from them. What can they learn beyond the strategy aspect of it? Now coming to your question, what constitutes good strategy? What are the elements of it? The first thing is, try to look at the risk parameters of a strategy. Okay. If the risk parameters are like, what are the average loss days? what are the winning ratio and the loss percentage ratio, what is the MDD of that. So let's say I am a very risk averse guy, very risk averse guy, and I say it's okay for me to find a strategy that has a drawdown of very very less but has a win rate of only 30%. It may suit my personality, my mindset, but it may not suit Saket's mindset. Saket would say, no, I would rather prefer win smaller than winning bigger. Okay, so probably you will look for a strategy that is a range of 70 to 75% win rate, but I say no, my focus is on MD. So the first parameter that you should look for is always the risk parameters, but you should know by looking at a strategy results that does it suit my personality as well or not. I should not go by if that person is saying this strategy has worked great for him, so I should rather copy that. No, I'll tell you a reason. Conviction. You may not have the same conviction when you're on the drawdown the guy has. So not just a great strategy, but is it suiting your personality or not is equally important. That's the key missing factor in many players. Still I get the mails and messages, tell me the great strategy. Obviously you would be knowing many strategies. Obviously I'd also do many back tests, but it's okay if you have a decent strategy. Let's say a strategy which has a drawdown under 10%, strategy which has a win rate of over 70%, strategy which has an expectancy of zero point 0.4, and average win is not like, don't go for average win 900 rupees. Let's say average win is 600-700 rupees. Try to use this strategy and see if you can follow all the rules in place or not. Try to use it, see it as a learning curve. Very few people are here for the learning curve. That's why they switch strategies. That's why they switch, try to get strategy from somebody else. That's why they always keep on cursing this market. This is a learning curve, and that's where we have to really follow the process.
Yes, sir. I would definitely agree with most of the points or all the points what you have mentioned, because like how you mentioned, it had happened to us where there was one strategy result which was really amazing. But we started using that also. But slowly started getting into this drawdown phase. And it was this time where we weren't psychologically okay to run this strategy anymore, because the losses were piling up, and we weren't okay with that amount of loss. So that's the reason, like how you rightly mentioned, it is more important what suits us more than which is a better strategy. And now the thing is, if we look at Stockmark, it has done quite a commendable progress over the past 2 years, from a simple backtesting to a lot of features in backtesting itself. And now I can also see that Stockmark has started a simulator where we can do discretionary backtesting as well. So now, moving on, what are the plans for Stockmark? What can we expect next from Stockmark?
Okay. Yes, simulator is something that we tried. It's a very great background for it. I'll tell you, we have been getting requests for the simulator for quite some time. Okay, we never had experience with simulator. We haven't used any simulator of any sort earlier. So I was talking to again users. I said that if you really need it, because we are into the automation backtesting. Automation backtesting means you give your rules and we'll follow that rules for the past 5 years. Simulation is something that you have to sit manual backtesting. Simulator is nothing more than manual backtesting. So it can suit systematic trader as well. It can suit discretionary trader as well. And then we said that, okay, we'll give ourselves 3.5 to 4 weeks. If we can crack simulator in some way, we'll launch it. And fortunately for 3 weeks, we built the simulator and launched it to the market in a very new fashion. Auto run is one of our great features in simulator. And then out of our surprise, this simulator has got the traction that we never expected. Like if I go to analytics, Google Analytics, I can see that 50,000 hits are getting on simulator in every minute. And that's a big deal. Like people are really liking simulator and people are really appreciating it. And though it's increasing our server costs, there are many hits, traffic is going on. So yes, simulator is one of the very cool things that we launched beyond testing, beyond backtest, automating backtesting. That's one thing. The As far as the future part is there are many things that are in pipeline. Okay. One is like, which is a general extension of backtesting in this, introducing indicators based backtesting in one way that is really, really helpful and simple. Saket, I'll tell you, the business we are in, we get literally so many feature requests. We know what all we can do, but we don't want to do everything. My main job is to say no to many things and to say yes to those things which are simple to implement for the retail traders, people like me, who can implement it in a simple fashion. Otherwise, we can bring so many things. There is a reason we didn't introduce indicators till now. It is in plans. We want to see how indicators can fit into the backtesting so that it's very easy to implement. We can give it raw right now, but I know it will not be that worth it. It is just to showcase probably StockMark has indicators is backtesting, but nothing beyond it. The second, to going across different verticals now. Let's say many people have been asking about currency backtesting, stocks backtesting. That's another way we can look at it. Charting is many people who are asking that if there is something that can look graphically, we can look at it in the charting perspective. We are also exploring that as well. So there are various segments that we are already working on. And one such segment is algo trading. Okay. We thought that there are already a couple of players in the market who provides algo trading solutions, but we are waiting for SEBI guidelines, to be honest. Okay. Once SEBI guidelines come for the algo trading, we'll seriously look into this segment, that how we can offer algo trading or how we can tie up with somebody who can offer the algo trading on StockMark directly. But once the guidelines come, only then, not before it. So there are many things in the pipeline that that are there for the that are there in our vision.
That's amazing, sir. The very aspect of indicator backtesting and all those sounds pretty exciting, because like it will add a lot of it's a proper use case for whoever is doing equities, because we know that most of the traders who come into market, at least over 50% of the traders are equity based traders. So
Yeah.
So they want to trade in equities, but they end up buying or selling options because because the equities, they can't generate much of return. So indicator backtesting is something which we would also definitely love to have on StockMark and backtest some strategies. So that is more or less Nitish Narang as a trader as well as an entrepreneur. So we got to know different aspects of how he got into trading and how he started StockMark. And as an industry expert, he has given us a lot of insights, what to use, especially while we are building a system. So what to focus on, and also the future plans for StockMark. So it was a lovely time interacting with you, sir, and we all had a great time. And I hope you also like this particular interview.
Definitely, I loved interacting with you. You have put up a very nice questions. I'll also add something for our users. Uh, don't fall into the trap of getting the best strategies. First of all, find a decent strategy. Okay, and the decent means that is easy to execute. Also look for the strategy which is simple, easy to execute. Let's say you had a strategy, had 25% stop loss, whatever. Try to get yourself into the systematic time frame and build psychology. Give yourself few weeks, first of all. That's a process. And you will thank me later, because once you will become a better trader in the process, that's how you build a strategy. And you have to stick to the basics. There is nothing very fancy and everyone else is doing. Even the big traders are following the good basics. That is it. And I think that's what I want to rather pressurize on every time.
That's again some valuable advice. So we have learned this the hard way, to keep things simple. So the more we complicate it becomes harder to execute, and we won't even be able to achieve half the result of what the backtesting shows, the more we complicate it.
Correct.
So the more simple we keep it, it is easier to execute, and we will be more in line with the results what we are actually, or what the backtest actually shows. So yes, sir. First of all, I would want to thank you for taking out time and coming on this recording, and also sharing a lot of valuable insights.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Saket, for giving this opportunity to speak to your audience. I
Sure,
hope I have
sir.
added some value.
Definitely, sir. And I personally know many people who are using Stockmark. And to be honest, even I was introduced to Stockmark through word of mouth. So it was not that I saw it anywhere, because it clearly shows that it is creating an impact. And we definitely want to see more Nitish Narang creating such products which actually impacts traders' life. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So that was our interaction with Nitish Narang, and I hope that all of you have liked this particular session. If so, then please do hit the like button, share this video, and you can also subscribe to Optionables. We have also attached links of Stockmark YouTube channel and Twitter down below, so don't forget to check that out as well. Since you guys have stayed till the end, here is one very exciting offer for you guys. So in the description, there's a link to Stockmark. When you actually click and open an account using that link, you will be getting double the free credit. So usually when you open an account, you'll be getting 20 free credits. But if you open an account using this link, you will be getting 40 free credits in the sign up. And apart from that, in the description itself, I have attached one more link. So this is a link to the video on how to use Stockmark and make the best use of it. So don't forget to check that out as well. Thank you so much for joining.